Hello there, horror freaks. It is I, the Strange Monkey. I've been sitting here not minding my own business, and a simple question came to mind. Which horror movie scene scared me the most? That's a good one, but I have a better idea. Why don't I ask some of my YouTube buddies the same question, and I will let them take it from here. Enjoy.
Horror movie that scared me, the international superstar the most, is that one episode of SpongeBob with the butterfly got all up in their face. It was like, ah! What? That's not a scary movie? Well, if not that, then I guess Nightmare on Elm Street. When I was a child, I was terrified of Freddy Krueger because the thought of you can't even escape because when you sleep, because you can't not sleep. You can't not sleep. You're never safe from Freddy Krueger. That scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Not now, though. Now I'll beat anybody up.
Internet, Eric here. I have been tasked by the Strange Monkey himself to discuss a scene from a horror movie that is probably the most scariest one I've seen, ones that make me uncomfortable, one that unnerves me, all that stuff. And I'm going with the first one that popped into my head that still gives me that creepy feeling, every time I see it, from one of my favorite horror movies of all time, 1982's Poltergeist, and it has nothing to do with that damn clown. A little bit of context for this scene. Caroline has already been taken to the other side by the evil spirits, and the Freeling family has hired a trio of paranormal investigators from the college, I guess you would say, to help try to find her, bring her back. It's late at night, and Marty, I guess you would say he's the nerdish looking one. Glasses, white shirt. I don't know if he's got a pocket protector or anything. Anyway, what do you do when you're spending the night at someone's house? You're hungry, you go raid their fridge. And Marty's raiding the fridge, finds a piece of chicken, like a drumstick, takes a bite, puts it in his mouth, scrounges, finds like a T-bone steak, puts that down, and he's looking for more food. And he turns around, he sees the steak, and the steak is on the countertop, and it's starting to crawl. Just like that, across the countertop to the end. Then it stops. And then it literally, from the inside, starts pouring out cooked pieces, raw pieces, maybe something else. Very disgusting. What happens then? Marty, can't believe his eyes, spits out the chicken drumstick, looks down, and maggots all over the eaten drumstick. He's freaking out. And he runs into, looks like, a side laundry area. And he's washing his face. He's trying to, clean his eyes. Did I see what I just saw type of thing. And he got some boils on his face. And he's cleaning it off. And then suddenly, his hands are grabbing his cheeks and his skin. And he is ripping his face clean off. The skin is coming off. All around the eyes. We see the eye sockets, the jaw. Everything is being pulled off. A great use of practical effects that still creeps you out. And speaking of creeping out, I guess we find out the next day that Marty will not be returning. Great use of practical effects, like I said, tone, music, so spooky. And everyone says that Tobe Hooper did not direct this, it was more Steven Spielberg. I still say Tobe directed it. Steven was very hands-on, and he literally was hands-on in this creepy scene because the hands that were ripping off the face were Steven's himself. So, gotta go with the Marty face peel from Poltergeist. Still creeps me out, still makes me uncomfortable. Fun for the whole family. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Brittany Wright, and today I will share with you that one horror movie scene that still haunts me to this day. The movie Arachnophobia. The scene, the wine cellar scene. And in this scene is where Jeff Daniels is in the wine cellar scene, and he comes face to face with these two big spiders. And that scene escalates very quickly because it becomes more intense and terrifying, and yet his character, Dr. Ross Jennings, his character is yet brave to able to take out these spiders, but yet he's terrified at the same time. And I know how he feels on that. And so as he is putting up a fight against these two spiders to take them out, you can feel the intensity of that scene and how terrifying it feels. And to be in that situation like that, it's like a horror scene, which it is. And you can feel the horror and the fear that this character has. And so as he takes one of them out, because one is the general, one is the queen, so I believe he takes out the general first, and then he comes face to face with the queen, which I believe he defeats last. And so as he has to face with this other one, it's just terrifying, horrifying. And within that scene where he falls and he lays on his back and he's frozen in fear, and then that other one is crawling up on his leg and he's just completely frozen, and the camera zooms in and where it shows the eyes, that is just so unnerving, so unsettling, and very uneasy, which I'm feeling uneasy even just by that itself. And yet when he finally defeats it, it's all over. But just that scene itself, it still gets to me. I remember when I first watched Arachnophobia, I was either 7 or 8, and that scene traumatized me. And then when I watched it again when I was older, I would say about 13 or so, it just made it worse, and I was even more afraid because I knew that by watching that movie that I knew I had a fear of spiders. And so just that scene itself is so intense, so terrifying, horrifying, and the best way to put it is absolutely traumatizing. And that's the one scene of a horror movie, or in this case a horror comedy movie, that still haunts me because of how intense it is, how eerie, how horrifying it is, and how personally, to me, the way I see it, how traumatizing it is. So that's it. That's the one scene that still haunts me. So now you know.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ken Sledge from Sledgehammer Horror. I just want to say I'm super excited to be here and doing this and talking about a scene that really affected me a lot growing up, and that is the ending of Tales from the Hood. It's this scene right here with Mr. Sims. I don't want to get too much into detail about it because it is pretty spoilery if you haven't seen the film, But what I can say is this moment scared me. The first time that I had seen this movie, it made me cry. I was scared so bad, and it stuck with me forever. And to this day, it's still my favorite anthology film. So if you're a fan of anthology films, a fan of movies with twist endings, and just a fan of being scared, I can't recommend Tales from the Hood enough. So thank you guys for having me on. And like I said, if you haven't seen Tales from the Hood, make sure you're checking that out. Fantastic horror movie with a lot of very scary moments and one of the best endings of all time. So thanks so much for having me, guys.
Hey guys, it's Ashley from Sledgehammer Horror. Thanks for letting me be a part of this. I'm super excited to tell you about a scene that terrifies me still to this day. And that scene is from the original Pet Sematary, the Zelda scene. When you hear her saying, Rachel, and then Rachel's walking up the stairs and she opens that door and Zelda's crouched down by the window. And then she gets up and starts walking towards Rachel and she says, I'm gonna twist your back like mine and you'll never get out of bed again. You'll never get out of bed again. Gave me nightmares. Zelda is what nightmares are made of. This was the first horror movie I ever watched as a child, and honestly, I love the way the anxiety made me feel. It's the reason I love horror today. So I have to give it up to the OG Pet Sematary. If you've never seen it, you should definitely check it out. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for letting me be a part of this.
A moment in cinema history that still haunts me to this day is the ending of James Wan's Saw, where we end up in the same location that the film begins in, a dingy, disgusting bathroom that we learn was built by Jigsaw himself. When Lawrence and Adam's assumed killer, Zeb, enters the bathroom, he's attacked and killed by Adam. Lawrence, who has managed to free himself from his chain, leaves Adam alone, who begs him not to go. Alone in the bathroom with two corpses, Adam frantically tries to find a way to free himself and begins to look for a key on Zeb's body, but instead finds another cassette player, just like the one he and Lawrence had. When he presses play, he hears Jigsaw's voice once again and realizes that Zeb was only following rules, just as he was. Once the tape ends, Jigsaw himself begins to rise from the floor like a zombie, and it soon becomes clear to Adam that this is the man who actually kidnapped him and then posed as a dead man while he and Lawrence played his twisted little game. Jigsaw then exits the room, sliding the heavy doors shut, leaving Adam in the dark to rot, and all we're left with are Adam's screams, fading as the credits roll.